Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound idea from Islamic theology. It's something that offers a pretty unique answer to a question that people have been asking forever. And that question is this: how can our finite minds possibly understand an infinite being? I mean, this is one of the biggest, oldest questions out there, right? Our small, limited minds trying to wrap our heads around something absolute, something totally transcendent. It feels like we're standing in front of a locked door and we can't even find the keyhole. But what if the key, or actually a whole set of keys, was given to us? The source material we're looking at today says that the answer is right there in the Quran. It's this idea of a set of divine keys that are offered to us, to our consciousness. So this answer, this concept, is called Esma-i Hüsna. In English, that's the most beautiful names. But here's the crucial part. You gotta think of these less like simple names, labels, and more like perfect, absolute qualities. They're divine attributes that are meant to act as a bridge for our understanding. And get this idea runs so deep, it's even baked right into the language itself. The Arabic word for name, which is ism, actually comes from two different roots. The first one, vezm, means a sign or a mark. That represents the part of God we can know, the things he reveals. But the other root, sumuv, means loftiness or height, and that points to the sublime, transcendent mystery of his essence that, frankly, is way beyond our grasp. So the word itself, ism, holds both of these realities at the same time. How cool is that? Okay, so we've got these divine keys. That's great. But how do they actually work? I mean, how do you use them to unlock any real understanding? Well, the source material is super clear on this. You can't just jump in and start with the infinite. Our minds just aren't built for that. If you try, you're just going to get lost. No, the only way forward, the right path, is to start with what's right here in front of us, the immanent, the world we already know. And this slide lays out the method perfectly. It's basically a three-step process. First, you start with a quality you already understand from your own life, right? Like mercy. Then, step two, you have to recognize its limits. Think about it. Human mercy can be so flawed and conditional. And then, the third step is to use that flawed, imperfect idea as a kind of signpost, a way to glimpse the perfect, absolute source of that quality. You go from our limited mercy to God as Ar-Rahim, the All-Merciful. Or you go from our often failing sense of justice to him as Al-Adl, the utterly just. You see how that works? Okay, so let's talk about something you've probably heard of, the 99 names of God. But as we're about to see, this whole thing is about so much more than just memorizing a number. The source material brings up a really famous tradition, a hadith, that mentions this specific number. It says that God has 99 names. But is that it? Is the goal really just to memorize a list of 99 words? Does just knowing them get you into paradise like the tradition seems to suggest? Well, the source we're looking at argues no way. That view completely misses the point. And the reason why is all packed into one key word from that tradition, ihsa. Now, a lot of the time it gets translated simply as to count or to memorize, but its real meaning is so much deeper, so much richer than that. It means to really comprehend, to internalize them, to feel the weight of these qualities, and this is the most important part, to actually live by the ethics these names imply. The goal isn't just knowing the names, it's letting them change who you are. So you see, this is not just some abstract philosophy. These names are meant to be a practical toolkit. They're there to help you build a correct understanding of God, to see his hand at work in the world every single moment, to serve as your own moral compass, and to give you the actual words, the language you need to talk to him in prayer. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound point about these divine keys. This whole journey, it doesn't just point outward towards the divine, it also points inward. The source material really emphasizes this ancient piece of wisdom. In Turkish, it's often said, "Kendini bilen Rabbini bilir." It means, he who knows himself knows his Lord. It's this beautiful idea that these two journeys, knowing yourself and knowing God, are totally intertwined. You really can't have one without the other. Think about it. When you really start to understand yourself, what you're really understanding are your own limitations, right? When you know your deep personal need for mercy, you get a glimpse of the all-merciful. When you recognize your own tiny creative spark, you can't help but appreciate the work of the ultimate creator. In knowing your own smallness, your own finiteness, that's when you can begin, just begin,
to comprehend his absolute greatness and infinity.
So, in the end, the Esma-i Hüsna aren't just a list you memorize. They're a path you walk. It's a lifelong journey of discovery, moving from what you know to what you don't, from yourself to the divine. And that really just leaves us with one last thought, one final question. If every single one of these names is a key that opens a door to understanding, which door would you want to open first?